In the distant village of Mboza, life was simple. The people were hard-working and lived off the land. Most of them were farmers who planted yams, maize, and cassava. The fishermen cast their nets in the rivers, while the traders sold colorful fabrics and shiny beads in the market. There were also hunters who ventured deep into the forests and midwives who helped bring new babies into the world. One boy stood out from the rest in this village. His name was Kobi. Unlike the other children, Kobi always dreamed of something bigger. While his friends were happy with their small homes and simple lives, Kobi would often sit by the river, staring out into the distance. He wanted more. He wanted to find Treasure Island, a magical place from the stories he heard as a child. Kobi's family was just like the others in Mboza. They lived in a small hut made of mud and thatch. They were content with what they had, never asking for more. But Kobi was different. His dreams were larger than the sky. Every night he would lie under the stars and imagine himself sailing across the seas, finding the treasure that would make him rich and powerful. His father, Kwaku, often laughed at him. "Kobi, these are just stories for children. There is no Treasure Island. We are farmers, and this is our life." But Kobi refused to believe it. He knew, deep in his heart, that the Treasure Island was real. One day, he promised himself he would find it. As Kobi grew older, his dreams only became stronger. He would talk about Treasure Island to anyone who would listen. But instead of encouraging him, the villagers laughed at him. "Kobi, you're chasing shadows," they teased. "No one has ever found this island. It's just a fairy tale." Even the children laughed at him. But Kobi didn't let their words bring him down. He knew that every great journey began with a single step, and he was ready to take that step, no matter what anyone said. Determined to prove everyone wrong, Kobi decided to seek the wisdom of the village elders. The elders were old and wise, having lived many years and seen many things. Kobi hoped they would have some ancient knowledge about Treasure Island. He approached Elder Kwame, the oldest man in the village, who always sat under the big baobab tree. "Elder Kwame, can you tell me about Treasure Island? Is it real?" Kobi asked. The elder squinted his eyes and sighed deeply. "Kobi, the island you seek is not a place you can find on a map. It is a journey of the heart, a test of strength, and a quest of the soul. Only those who are truly determined can find it." Elder Kwame's words made Kobi think deeply. A journey of the heart, a test of strength. What does that mean? He wondered. But one thing was clear. If he wanted to find the Treasure Island, he had to be strong, brave, and never give up. Elder Kwame continued, "Many have tried to find the island, but none have returned. Some say the treasure is cursed, but if your heart is pure and your spirit strong, you might be the one to succeed." As Kobi left Elder Kwame's side, doubt began to creep into his mind. What if the villagers were right? What if Treasure Island was just a myth? But then he remembered the fire in his heart. No matter how difficult the journey would be, he had to try. Kobi knew he couldn't stay in Mboza any longer. He had to leave and find the treasure, but he couldn't leave without telling Amma, the girl he loved. Amma was the most beautiful girl in the village. Her eyes sparkled like stars, and her laughter was as sweet as the song of a bird. Kobi loved her deeply, and she loved him too. When Kofi told her about his plan to leave the village and find Treasure Island, Amma's heart sank. "Kobi, must you go?" she asked, tears welling up in her eyes. "What if something happens to you? I cannot bear the thought of losing you." But Kobi held her hands and promised, "Amma, I will return. I will bring back treasures from the island, and I will make you the happiest woman in the world." The day finally came for Kobi to leave. The sun was just rising, casting a golden glow over the village. Kobi packed a small bag with food and water and set off toward the horizon. Amma stood at the edge of the village, watching him disappear into the distance. Her heart was heavy with worry, but she knew Kobi's dreams were too big to be contained. "Come back to me, Kobi," she whispered. "Come back." Kobi's journey was not easy. After walking for days, he came across a dense forest, thick with vines and thorns. It was dark and full of strange sounds. But Kobi was not afraid. He had the words of Elder Kwame in his mind. Only those who are truly determined can find it. As he hacked his way through the forest, he encountered a wild beast, a lion with sharp claws and fiery eyes. Kobi's heart raced, but he stood his ground, refusing to run. He knew that this was his first test. The lion roared and charged at Kobi, but he was quick. With his spear in hand, he dodged the lion's attack and struck it on the side. The beast fell to the ground, wounded but not dead. Kobi could have killed the lion, but he chose not to. "I am not here to harm you," Kobi whispered to the lion. "I am here to find my destiny." The lion, sensing Kobi's courage and kindness, slowly got up and walked away. Kobi had passed his first trial. After leaving the forest, Kobi came across a towering mountain. It was so tall that its peak was hidden by clouds. Kobi looked up and felt a pang of fear. This mountain would be his second test. The villagers' words echoed in his head. "Kobi, you're chasing shadows," they had said. "No one has ever found this island." Kobi shook his head, determined not to let doubt consume him. He began to climb the mountain, each step harder than the last. As Kobi climbed, he heard a voice in the wind. "You will fail," the voice whispered. "You will never find Treasure Island. Turn back now before it's too late." But Kobi ignored the voice. He knew it was the mountain trying to break his spirit. "I will not give up," he said to himself. "I have come too far to turn back now." With each step, the voice grew louder, but Kobi's resolve grew stronger. After hours of climbing, Kobi finally reached the peak of the mountain. He stood at the top, looking out over the vast land below. The view was breathtaking, but more than that, Kobi felt a sense of triumph. He had conquered his doubts and fears. The wind was calm now, and the voice of doubt was gone. Kobi smiled to himself. He was one step closer to finding Treasure Island. Kobi's journey took him next to a vast desert. The sun was scorching, and there was no shade in sight. The desert stretched out endlessly before him, and for the first time, Kobi felt truly alone. This would be his third test. With each step, the sand burned his feet, and his water supply began to run low. But Kobi knew he had to keep going. There was no turning back now. As Kobi trudged through the desert, he began to see mirages, shimmering images of water and lush oases, but each time he ran toward them, they disappeared. The desert was playing tricks on his mind, trying to make him lose hope. Kobi fell to his knees, exhausted and thirsty. For the first time, he wondered if he had made a mistake. But then he remembered Amma. He remembered the promise he had made to her, and that gave him the strength to rise once more. Just when Kobi thought he could go no further, he spotted a small oasis in the distance. This time, it was real. As he approached, he saw a pool of cool water surrounded by palm trees. Kobi knelt by the water and drank deeply, feeling life return to his tired body. The oasis was a gift from the land, a reward for his perseverance. Kobi rested under the shade of the trees, knowing that the hardest part of his journey was still ahead. As Kobi rested by the oasis, he heard the wind begin to whisper again. But this time, the voice was different. It was gentle, guiding him forward. "The treasure is near," the wind seemed to say. "Do not give up now." Kobi listened carefully, letting the wind guide his next steps. Following the wind's guidance, Kobi soon found himself standing before a large rock formation. Hidden among the rocks was a small, dark cave. It was here that his journey would lead him next. Without hesitation, Kobi entered the cave, his heart pounding with both fear and excitement. Inside the cave, Kobi was met with darkness and silence. But as he ventured deeper, he saw something move in the shadows. A figure emerged, tall and cloaked in mystery. It was the guardian of the cave. "You seek the treasure island," the guardian said in a deep voice, "but only those who are truly worthy may pass." The guardian stepped forward, eyes glowing in the dim light. "I will give you one final challenge," he said. "If you pass, the treasure will be yours. But if you fail, you will never leave this cave." Kobi nodded, ready for whatever the guardian would ask of him. The guardian stared at Kobi with eyes as deep as the ocean. His voice echoed in the cave, sending shivers down Kobi's spine. "Before you can find the treasure, you must solve this riddle. Listen closely." The guardian spoke slowly. "I am not alive, but I grow. I do not have lungs, but I need air. I do not have a mouth, but I can drown. What am I?" Kobi's heart raced. He knew the answer to this riddle could determine his entire fate. He took a deep breath, thinking hard. The answer seemed just out of reach. Kobi's mind raced. He thought about the words the guardian had spoken. Not alive, but grows. Needs air, but can drown. He repeated the words in his head over and over. Then, a sudden realization hit him like lightning. "Fire!" Kobi shouted. "The answer is fire!" The guardian's eyes sparkled. "You are correct," he said, stepping aside. "You have proven your wisdom. Now, go forth and claim what you seek." As the guardian moved aside, Kobi saw a glowing path at the end of the cave. His heart soared. This was it, the final step to Treasure Island. He thanked the guardian and stepped onto the glowing path, which led deeper into the cave. Each step felt lighter than the last, as if the cave itself was welcoming him. The air became warmer, and Kobi could hear the faint sound of waves crashing on a distant shore. After what felt like hours, Kobi finally emerged from the cave onto a hidden shore. Before him lay a sparkling sea, and on the horizon a small island gleamed in the sunlight. This was it, Treasure Island. Kobi's heart pounded with excitement. He knew that all his struggles had led him to this moment. He boarded a small boat that was waiting by the shore and rowed toward the island, the waves gentle beneath him. As Kobi's boat touched the shore of Treasure Island, he stepped onto the soft golden sand. The island was quiet, peaceful, and filled with the scent of flowers and the sound of birds singing. In the center of the island stood a tall tree, its branches heavy with shimmering fruits of gold. At the base of the tree, Kobi saw a chest, large and ancient, covered in vines. His heart raced as he approached it, knowing that inside lay the treasure he had been searching for all his life. With trembling hands, Kobi knelt before the chest. He gently brushed away the vines and dust that covered it. Slowly, he opened the lid, and his eyes widened at the sight before him. Inside the chest were piles of gold coins, shimmering gems, and precious stones of every color. But there was something more, something far more valuable. At the center of the treasure lay a small, ancient scroll. Kobi picked up the scroll, his hands shaking. He carefully unrolled it and read the words written in a language that seemed both old and familiar. The scroll spoke of wisdom, courage, and kindness, explaining that the true treasure was not just the riches in the chest, but the journey itself. Kobi realized then that the gold and gems were not the greatest reward. The lessons he had learned along the way, the strength he had found within himself, and the love he had for Amma and his village, these were the true treasures. Kobi gathered the treasures and set off back toward his village. As he rode away from Treasure Island, he thought about everything he had gone through, the mockery of the villagers, the trials he had faced, and the wisdom of Elder Kwame. He was returning, not just with riches, but with knowledge and a heart full of purpose. The journey back was long, but Kobi's spirit was light. He had done what no one believed possible. Now, it was time to fulfill his promise to Amma and share the wealth with his people. When Kobi arrived at Mboza, the villagers were shocked to see him. Many had thought he was lost forever, swallowed by the wild lands or the dangerous sea. But here he was, standing before them, strong and victorious. Kobi was welcomed with cheers and songs. Even those who had mocked him now looked at him with admiration. But Kobi did not boast. He knew that his success was not just about finding the treasure. It was about believing in himself when no one else did. Amma rushed through the crowd, her heart beating fast. She had waited for Kobi every single day, hoping and praying for his safe return. When she saw him standing there, smiling and whole, her eyes filled with tears of joy. "Kobi, you came back!" she cried, embracing him tightly. Kobi smiled and kissed her forehead. "I promised I would," he said softly, "and I have brought you the treasures of the world." The elders of the village gathered around Kobi, amazed at what he had achieved. Elder Kwame stepped forward, his eyes filled with pride. "Kobi, you have shown great courage, wisdom, and perseverance. You have found the treasure that many thought was only a story. You are a true leader." The village decided that Kobi should become their king, for he had proven himself worthy. Kobi was crowned under the great baobab tree, the same tree where he had once sat as a boy, dreaming of something greater. As king, Kobi did not rule with greed or power. He used the treasure he found to help the people of Mboza. He built schools, hospitals, and better homes for everyone. He shared the wealth with the traders, farmers, hunters, and fishermen, ensuring that no one went hungry. Kobi also passed down the wisdom from the scroll, teaching the villagers that true riches come from within, through kindness, courage, and determination. Under Kobi's leadership, Mboza thrived. The village became known far and wide as a place of wisdom, peace, and prosperity. Traders from distant lands came to do business, and the people of Mboza lived in harmony, their lives enriched, not just by gold, but by the lessons Kobi had brought back. But through it all, Kobi remained humble. He never forgot the days when he was just a boy, dreaming by the river, mocked by the villagers, and he never forgot the love and support of Amma, who had waited patiently for his return. As the years passed, Kobi's story became a legend in the land. Parents told their children about the boy who never gave up on his dream and how he had found the true treasure, not in gold, but in his heart and mind. The people of Mboza learned that sometimes the greatest journey is not one that takes you far from home, but one that helps you discover who you truly are. Kobi's name lived on long after he had passed. He became a symbol of hope, perseverance, and strength. The villagers never forgot his story, and they passed it down from generation to generation. The people of Mboza sang songs about Kobi, celebrating the boy who became a king, not through riches but through heart and spirit. His story inspired others to dream big and never give up, no matter how hard the journey. Kobi and Amma had many children, and they too learned the values of courage, wisdom, and kindness. They grew up hearing stories of their father's great adventure, and they carried on his legacy, helping the village and spreading his teachings. Elder Kwame lived to see the transformation of Mboza, smiling with pride at how Kobi had fulfilled his destiny. He continued to share his wisdom with the younger generation, reminding them that the true journey is the one within. As the years passed, new generations grew up in Mboza, inspired by Kobi's story. They too set out on their own journeys, always remembering the lesson of Treasure Island, that true treasure lies in the heart. Amma's love for Kobi never faded. She stood by his side through every challenge, and together they led the village into a golden age. Amma's strength and patience became legendary, and she was remembered as the queen who always believed in the power of dreams. In honor of Kobi's journey, the villagers created the Festival of Dreams. Every year, they celebrated with music, dance, and storytelling, reminding everyone that no dream is too big and no challenge too great. As Kobi grew older, he reflected on his life with peace and contentment. He had fulfilled his dream and more. Surrounded by his family and the people he loved, he knew he had lived a life full of purpose. Before his final days, Kobi gathered the village and passed on his leadership to the next generation. He reminded them that the treasure of life is not something you find, it's something you create through your actions and your heart. When Kobi passed, the entire village mourned, but they also celebrated the life of a king who had taught them the greatest lessons of all. His name was forever etched in their hearts, and his story became a guiding light for the future. The new leaders of Mboza carried on Kobi's legacy. They led with wisdom, fairness, and compassion, always remembering the lessons he had taught them about perseverance, kindness, and courage. Even though Kobi's journey to Treasure Island was long over, the spirit of the island lived on in the hearts of the villagers. They learned that the greatest treasures are found not in faraway places, but within themselves. The children of Mboza grew up hearing stories of Kobi and his great adventure. They were inspired to dream big, to never give up, and to always believe in the power of their own hearts. In the end, Kobi's journey was not just about finding gold or treasure. It was about discovering the power of faith, courage, and kindness. He showed that no matter how small you start, with a big dream and a strong heart, you can achieve anything. Kobi's life story became a lasting reminder to everyone. The moral of this story is that true treasure in life is not in gold or riches, but in the journey itself. It's in the courage to follow your dreams, the wisdom to overcome your challenges, and the love you share with others. And so Kobi's story continues to inspire, reminding all who hear it that the greatest treasures are the ones we carry inside. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.